To everybody coming forth to the Mindcast radio channel. I have a very interesting topic today that I decided to elaborate on. It's one of those topics that I know a lot of psychoanalysis and psychiatrists, psychologists, they talk about it. But today I'm going to elaborate on a topic, man, that, it has a lot to do with my life in general. And I'm open. I mean, I'm very transparent, man, to be honest with you. I'm very open in a lot of things that I put forth as far as information is concerned in reference to like black culture, hoodoo, um, and my history and knowledge of it as far as what I can contribute to society. I am one of those type of people that think that, due to the excruciating circumstances of someone's life, it does become important to be able to contribute to society, because the way that life is designed for many of us, and the cards have been dealt, so on and so forth, it's just important to not try to become like the elements or the environment or the circumstances that may have harmed or hurt you in any form, way, or capacity. So it's just very important that I bring forth this message. And I think it's very useful. Take what basically resonates with you. I can tell from experience, and I can speak from a place of experience about certain subject matters. And I try to give that knowledge, because that's important for the younger generation to learn from, because there's a lot of older people that are just not truly authentic with themselves and with others about assisting the direction of humanity and also the black people in particular, because we've been, subjected severely to compounded trauma. And in previous videos that I've made on TikTok, and I think I've spoken about it here, that compounded trauma is when you're going through so many traumatic events and it's compounded up against you. And I think that men, black and white, and women, black and white, have experienced severe levels of compounded trauma. Women in particular, with the exploitations of the world and society that we live in, and the exploitation that lives in black culture, and all of this ties into my perspective of what is hoodoo, because hoodoo is one of those spiritual concepts that I've stated previously that was designed according to the levels of oppression that people were experiencing all throughout all throughout the Americas, and it's that system, man. And to be honest with you, hoodoo is that system that's very unique, extremely unique. Like when we look at other systems of, Aboriginal systems and indigenous systems and African systems that's over here, they didn't primarily come or were birthed through oppression. They weren't. They were birthed in thriving civilizations. Hoodoo was birthed from oppression, and it was a tool that was given to us by the Most High, to formulate ways of fighting oppression. So what I want to do today is not only talk about that in particular, but I want to give a message to the younger generation. And I think it's my responsibility to do so. The message to the younger generation is you don't, under no circumstances, want to go out here, get yourself arrested, and go to jail or prison, because here's what's happened. Here's what happens, and in my situation in particular, you go to prison, you go do your time, you pay your debt to society. And what happens is while you're gone for that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, your family and your friends become friends with the reason why you went to prison. That's a different kind of situation right there. It really is. When you go to prison as a younger generational person, you go to prison, then you come home thinking everything good, but the whole time that you've been gone, your family and your friends have been friends with the reason why you went to prison. You see how that works? Now, listen to this very closely. What happens? You come home, you look around, and you see things happening, and you see these people, and you're like, hey, you go to your family members, and you tell your family members, hey, you know, you might not want to be associating with these particular people right here because, these people are associated with the reason why, I went to prison. So what happens? Your family look at you and say, you know what? That's my friend. You jealous of me. You jealous of my friends. And you're like, no, I'm not jealous of your friends. I'm just kind of trying to educate you like, yo, it hurts me that you associating with these people. And this is the reason why, why I went to prison. And then you look around, your friends too. See, the thing is what the younger generation, they don't understand. When you go for a long time to prison, you really don't know who your family are connected to or who they're connecting with while you're gone. You don't know who your friends are connected with. So these people are bonding. And a lot of times, we deal with mass manipulators out here in the society. And a lot of times dealing with these mass manipulators, what we end up getting into is situations where everybody else know that they're pulling a mass deceptive move on you, except you. So now you got your mama, your daddy, your sister, and your brother, all friends with the reason why you went to prison, and they're friends with their friends. You see how this connection happens? And then your friends have been making friends with those people. So now when you come home, you're the oddball. You're trying to fit in. You're trying to figure it out. You're trying to say, okay, what's happening here? I'm seeing my people associating and affiliating with, the reason why I went to prison. And it becomes a situation for you, and that's why I recommend to the younger generation, don't be going to prison. Don't do it. Because if you do, what's going to happen is you don't know who your friends and your families are communicating with. You don't know who they're making friends with. And they could be making friends, very close friends, with the people that are associated with the reason you went to prison. Very much common. It happens a lot. And I think a lot of people don't want to elaborate on it, but it does happen a lot. It happened to me personally. And I'm still dealing with the effects of it, and this is why the magnitude of things that's happening right now, or the way that, the talking and the name and the mouth and all that stuff there is really taking place. It's because people feel very comfortable in dealing with the fact that your family betrayed you. And even after you educate your family about what they're doing that hurt you, they continue to do so. You see, and people do things like that because they live in extreme levels of ignorance and they don't understand the magnitude or the severity of what's happening. So pass that message. And that deals with that deals with betrayal. It's all good. It deals with betrayal there. And so in life, we deal with a few things. And when you get on that path, man, and that journey to say, well, you know what? I'm going to change my life around. I'm going to try to do something different. And when you go try to do something different, when you're coming from an environment that's obsessed with ignorance and you try to do something different, what happens is it becomes offensive to people who have no idea about their self-worth and their self-value. It becomes offensive to them. It becomes, who you think you is? I'm just somebody trying to change. I'm trying to do better. especially when you come from wicked environments. I'm talking about environments where there's drug trafficking, environments where there's human trafficking, environments where there's high levels of prostitution and and drugs all over the place. Now, what happens is this mentality is culturalized in these environments. The only time people really get in trouble is when they single you out and say, "Hey, look what he's doing or look what she's doing." But the reality is, everybody is in on it together, and it is a culturalized behavior. And culturalized behaviors, it only becomes a problem when you fall out with people about the things that you're doing. It becomes a problem, and so understanding that, you understand you have to remove yourself from those environments, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, from those environments. But when you're dealing with obsessive people and you're dealing with an obsessive environment, people have the tendency to say, well, we're going to chase and chase and chase, and kind of pretty much turn the situation into a stalking situation where they would stalk you for 20 years. 20 years of stalking someone is insanity. It really is. Um, and so when you say, hey, I've changed my ways and I don't want to associate, I don't want to be like the environment that hurt me. I don't want to be like the people that betrayed me. I don't want to be like those things. I want to experience new experiences and evolve and grow in life. This is a common thing. People evolve. There's two things you can do when you've experienced extreme levels of trauma. You can suffer from PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome disorder. You can suffer from that, or you can deal with PTD, PTG, post-traumatic growth. Post-traumatic growth is when you experience a lot of trauma in your life and you say, you know what, man, it got to be a better way. It has to be something better than what I'm experiencing right now. So let me go and find it. Let me go out into the world. Let me go within myself. Let me seek and find some knowledge, some wisdom, some type of information that could actually help me evolve into the person that I want to become. Everyone has the right to evolve. But you have to also realize there are beings on this planet that have the assignment of stopping, hindering the evolution of other people. They don't want you to evolve. So their disdain for you evolving becomes their assignment. What can you do in situations like that? You have to evolve anyway. And that's why I say heal anyway, because it won't stop. Now they're going to fabricate. They're going to surveillance. They're going to do everything possible to disrupt the healing process. Now, nobody is free of sin. Nobody is free of that. And so in certain environments, like I said, certain things are okay. But what we find distasteful is when people take things that they know they have normalized and they take it and point at you. That same story happened in the book of Enoch. In the book of Enoch, you had Samyaza and you had Azazel. Those were the two leaders of the fallen angels. And what obviously happened is that when the archangels came down, Gabriel, Michael, Raphael, and Uriel came down and said, hey, man, what y'all doing down here? Like, y'all teaching these people the secrets of the heavens, but you're not teaching them morality. You're just giving them the knowledge and not teaching them the proper application of the knowledge. So what happened? They all turned around, even though everybody was equally contributing to disobeying the laws of the Most High. They all turned around and said, it's Azazel. He the one that did this. He the one that they made him the scapegoat. And said, he the one that did all of this by himself. But the archangels weren't dumb, and the Most High is definitely not either. The Most High said, you know what? Yeah, we're going to deal with Azazel. We're going to bound all y'all. We're going to bound all y'all because all y'all are equal contributors to the nonsense and disobeying the rules and regulations of the Most High. You see? And so Azazel was known to be the mastermind. He was the smart one. He was the one to say, this is how we're going to do it. But there is no way in the book of Enoch where it says Azazel participated in fornication. He didn't participate in the lust for women like the other angels did. Now, here's the principle I'm getting to. All the other angels, they participated in the lusting and having babies and just turning up, having fun, fornicating all over the place. He didn't. So what happened, and when we look at the biblical scriptures, right, and I'm going to refer to it, when we look at the Bible, you find that the word fornication is in the Bible 33 times. Interesting, isn't it? Very interesting that the word fornication is mentioned in the Bible 33 times. What's significant about the number 33? Well, 3 times 3 is 9. There were 9 primary angels, and I have all their names right here. Azazel, 1, Semyaza, 2, Amaros, 3, Barakiel, 4, Kokabel, 5, Ezekiel, 6, Arakiel, 7, Shamsiel, 8, and Sariel, 9. Okay? Those are the 9 primary fallen. Each one of them taught different things, and each one of them was responsible for their actions in different ways. But there were 9 of them all together. Okay? 3 times 3. The word fornication is mentioned in the Bible 33 times. Now we can get into the whole notion about the Knight Templars and secret societies rewriting the Bible and so on and so forth. But in the original text, it's 33 times. 3 times 3 is 9. 33rd and 3rd degree secret society information. You see, it is basically telling us that the fornicators, the number 33, and fornicators are simonious. There is an interconnectedness there, you know. So when we talk about, you know, where the freak offs really happening, you know what I mean? You know, all the secret societies are Diddy parties. All of them are, you know. And so when you remove, when you remove yourself from those environments, man, you're the bad guy. Yep, you're the bad guy because their secrets get out. Not interested in revealing people's secrets. Because it's not a secret, really not a secret. When you decide to change your energy signature, what happens is if you're not in alignment, if you're not doing what they do, they use the energy of bigotry. Bigots. You know, when I first came back, right, because I've been like traveling, you know, around and all over the United States, man, running around, you know, kind of doing what I do and spreading information the best I could and living. One thing I noticed is that when I came home, I didn't even know, had no idea, real talk, had no idea. I came home and you had family members. And this is important for people that get on a spiritual journey. Because when you go on your spiritual journey and you come back around these people, they have some kind of weird energy towards you. Like you think you all that, or you know who you think you is, or you believe in that BS and that's the devil worship and you know, the most, man. And so that level of bigotry energy is serious. Because for me personally, my family members were watching my YouTube pages. My family members were watching my videos. And they had their own group chat, text chat, talking about me. He the devil, or the Satan got him. The devil got him. Oh man, he is the worst of worst. And but the whole time I'm looking out for them, taking care of them, being there for them emotionally and mentally. But obviously, this is what they were doing for years. For years, man. I mean, years. Mama, daddy, sister, brother, everybody. And so when I came home, I'm like, hey, man, giving everybody some money, looking out, being nice. But the whole time, they had this bigotry energy all piled up. And so when that bigotry energy like piled up, it's like, okay, I'm trying to help you guys. And you guys turned around and like, yo, like did the most, and bigotry energy will make people betray you based on beliefs, you the devil, they'll go run around town, tell everybody all your business. They'll, make friends with your enemies. They'll make friends with people they know like would like to take your life. All because of what you believe in. And that's just part of it. So when you experience these things in your spiritual journey, you better believe it's best to separate yourself from those family members. Now we can say cut off, cut off, cut off. I know people talk about that all the time, cutting people off. But when you got love for people, in certain instances, it becomes difficult to cut those people off. But if the things those people are doing jeopardizes your personal safety, you have to cut them off emotionally and mentally. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Bigotry is dangerous energy. When you got people who would emotionally harm you, mentally harm you, betray you based on what you believe in, no matter if you're treating them good or not. You see? So they openly become your enemy because they don't understand what hoodoo is. Because they've been taught through books and, they were taught from videos or whatever, or from other bigots and other religions that, hey, this is evil. When in all actuality, what is known as hoodoo was developed as a tool to fight oppression on the plantations. It was used to fight oppression. They weren't clapping and singing and having a good time with hoodoo. It was used as a primary tool to liberate themselves through spiritual force, connecting with the divine energy. And that's why in hoodoo, unlike any other African or indigenous religion, hoodoo don't have spirits in them. There's nowhere where you talk to an old root worker, they would tell you, yeah, use this spirit or that spirit. There's none of that in there. None of it. And not an original hoodoo. I don't know what people are doing right now. I have no clue. But in original hoodoo, the way that it was originally developed, there is no spirits, no spiritual pantheon. It is a system based on a direct connection between the practitioner and the Most High. Seriously, the Most High. Now, all the blending and stuff, all of that's cool, but original root work that's what it is. And it actually began as a medicinal practice because during the times of slavery, slaves and even after slavery, you couldn't go to European doctors. And most people that did go to European doctors, they were killed. They would say, oh yeah, we're going to give you this vaccination. The whole time they're putting poison in people, killing them, taking them out, because there were no levels of accountability, no checks and balance systems for them. It was okay. Black people were generally guinea pigs. It's like you kill a black person either with violence, or you kill a black person with violence through medicine, you would be applauded in those days and times. And so when it evolved, like I say, into a system of, hey, you learn how to make your own medicine. And the only way that we could make our own medicine is by knowing the plants. And this is why I said that, when it comes to Africans coming to America, there have to have been original Black people here who knew the plants here, because the same plants that grow in America don't grow in Africa. So there was someone already here with medicinal knowledge of the plants and the plant system here, the whole ecology of it. And these original Aboriginal Black people were the ones that taught the African slaves, and they kind of mixed and mingled with us. And that's how they learned the knowledge, and they added their knowledge of how to work the medicines. And it became a medicinal craft first, you see. And from that medicinal craft, it evolved into a magical craft because medicine is magic, you know. And so, like I said, back to understanding the energy of bigotry, you know, it's something very serious, man, in your spiritual journey. So you're going to have to kind of disassociate yourself from people that don't understand that being a bigot is a very harmful thing. Very harmful. Very harmful. So if you got family members that are bigoted, use bigotry energy towards you, you got to separate yourself. No matter if they're mama, daddy, sister, whoever, you got to get away from them because it's a form of control. It's psychotic. It's a psychotic form of control. They want you to believe in the things they believe in the way they believe in it. And if you don't, something's wrong with you. And that's a very common practice of mind control. And so that's the message with that. Exploitation is the next. People with agendas. And this all ties into the culturalization of insanity. Because we have taken mental illness to another level. You know, the Black African American Aboriginal community, wherever we identify as, we have taken mental health, glamorized it. We have taken mental health issues and culturalized it. So there are people, and I include myself in people. There are people that have taken very bad behavior and normalized it. They normalized it. And how they normalized it, for example, drugs. We know as grown adults, we know drugs destroys our communities. But the way that drug selling has been culturalized, and take it from an ex-drug dealer 30 years ago, we have culturalized selling drugs as getting the bag. You know, we get to the bag, get some money. You better get some money. You better get to the bag. And that principle is used as a destructive tool to make it okay to destroy your community because you, as the individual, need some money. You see how that works? So you can sell pregnant women crack. You can sell your own mother crack. You can sell your own brothers and sisters fentanyl and all kinds of drugs that you know destroys their family structures, destroys their inner beings. And because you're living under the principle of getting the bag and getting to the bag, somehow mysteriously it becomes okay. That is genocidal insanity. You're destroying others for your own personal gain. Those are lessons I had to learn 20 years ago. That's why when I left the kind of drug trade, I said, why mess with that no more? I see what that do to people. I see the level of insanity it creates and incites in communities. So that's something you would never want to do once you reach your level of spiritual elevation, you know? And so within that realm, there's massive, massive exploitation. That's right. Massive levels of exploitation. So when you look at, and when we look at how women are being treated by drug dealers in the drug trade, you know, we deal with the concept of bitches and hoes and the massive disrespect that has poured over into social media. And it pours into people's personal life. Nobody's perfect. And we're all warring with this massive demonic energy, of course. But the fact that people have normalized the exploitation of others, particularly women. Now, I'm not free of sin. You're not free of sin. I'm not either. One of the things when it comes to the exploitation of people is that when people have agendas, because in the drug realm and in the getting licked back and revenge realm, people generally don't care who gets hurt as long as it fulfills their agenda. You see? So when you have people in this realm operating under that premise, people going to get hurt. You will have men, and this is something I've always been against, man. I've always been against men using women to get close to other people so that they can exploit them, because you don't know the kind of senses that these people got. You don't know. So if you pay a woman to go and get close to another guy, that guy figures it out. He could hurt that person in the act of defending himself. You see what I mean? And that's serious, man. You don't think it is? Y'all don't think that kind of thing is serious? And see, that's not a man. That's not a man. That is not a man who's going to say, I'm going to take and find a female, give her drugs or give her money to go and do something harmful to another guy, placing that man in a position to defend himself. Then that guy becomes the bad guy by the group of orchestrators. That's horrible, man. For real. It's very, very bad. So the exploitation of people is extremely serious. In this world we living in, I've dealt with it. I've dealt with exploitation. I'm still dealing with the exploitation of others, because that get the bad concept. To get the bad concept, people would do anything for money, even put themselves in harm's way, And so these things happen primarily because we have culturalized insanity. It is not manly and womanly to say, we're going to sit around, we're going to find the dumbest woman, and we're going to pay them. We're going to sit around, we're going to find the dumbest woman, and we're going to give them drugs. We're going to find the dumbest woman and entice them, persuade them, manipulate them, and send them on this mission, because we won't do it. There are men sitting behind the scenes, sending women to go get hurt. It happens all the time. All the time. And that's a very common hood practice. But it's not something that everybody in the hood does, because some people in the hood, they don't do things like that. And it's a very well-known concept too in the hood that people that do things like that are cowards. They're big, gigantic cowards. No matter how many gold chains they got on, no matter how much, they got going on for themselves, cars, whatever. That's cowardly. It's not a man. A real man, if he has a problem, we put it on the table, we address it, we move forward and go from there. But it is an act of insanity to exploit people in a way that gets anybody hurt because you have an agenda. That's insanity. It's pure insanity. So we got to be careful in our journey about the exploitation of others. You have to ask yourself, am I exploiting others even as I'm trying to help them? Am I exploiting others for my own personal gain? Am I exploiting others because I know they're weak, or I know or feel that they're gullible? So I'm going to use all of my manipulative tactics to get them into situations where they can get hurt so I can reap some kind of benefit from it. It's insanity. And there's a lot of things in American culture that come from insane practices and principles because we live in a world of insanity. They do things like illegal surveillance. You have people out here that would watch you literally for 20 years. 20 years. Like I say, they got cameras, screenshots. You got people literally that would come into your life from day one with the whole idea of creating chaos and confusion in your life. Whole time you're trying to help them. Whole time you're trying to make them better. Whole time you're trying to build. And every time you build something, they got a drilling a hole in your boat trying to make you sink. And then when you respond to it, they're mad. It's weird. We live in a weird world. You respond to it like, hey, man, I see you trying to sabotage me, or you trying to sabotage what I'm building. Why don't you chill out? Like, go ahead with all of that. No, they don't want that. Because this, for some reason, they think you never saw it or you don't see it, or it's weird. Very weird. And they allow themselves to be exploited. And so we have to set up a level of protection, spiritual protection for ourselves, till we don't allow ourselves to be exploited by others with evil and mean agendas. And that's really real, because the exploitations of others is how other people survive. They survive by exploiting people. And so another way, and I'm not guilty, man. I'm transparent, man. Listen, I'll tell on myself. And so coming from that environment, that very extremely toxic environment, you participate in things, you participate in drugs, and you participate in prostitution, and you participate in things like that, and it's no secret. The majority, 99% of drug dealers participate in prostitution. Either they're pimping others, protecting others, or they're actively involved in, orchestrating and organizing it. And so, we all learn, and we have learned that is a lifestyle, if it's legal or not. In certain realms, it is a lifestyle. And in that lifestyle, I know the old interpretation was the men were the pimps and they were pimping women. Today, I can tell you that's not true. Today, I can tell you that it's all organized and ran by women that exploit other women for financial gain. Even younger women, they exploit younger women for financial gain on sites like list crawlers, skip the games, and other escort sites and stuff like that. They would get these younger women on there to lie and say, hey, they're 26, 27, and then stuff like that there, when the whole time they're not. And so what happens is it becomes a system. A lot of those people are present on social media. They got their righteous names and, things like that. And then you got the OnlyFans crew. The OnlyFans crew keep it real. They're like, hey, this is what we're doing, and we're on OnlyFans doing it, and this is what it is. But as men and women, we got to be extremely careful when we intermix with these people, in particular, because when we do intermix with these people, what happens is, if you're someone of interest in any other realm, you're going to be attacked. I've experienced that myself. If you're someone of interest, like political leaders, I think even like Bill Clinton, Trump had the porn star girl, and they exploited her to exploit him, and it turns into a big old exploitation mess if you're a person of high interest or whatever. it becomes a mess because they would pay these girls and they would pay people to come against you. Illegal surveillance is one of them. Like, we live in a world of hackers, man. And so what these hackers do is they clone your phone. They clone your phone, and they would clone the phones of people around you as well. You know, they would pay hackers to hack into your Wi-Fi, and they would intercept packets, use Wireshark, backtrack Linux, things like that, Jack the Ripper to crack passwords and stuff like that. And they would get into your phone, into your computer to see what you're doing, where you're going, what you're doing, who you're doing it with, all of that, so that they can monitor you. And in the process of monitoring you, they know where to interject their attempt sabotage. They know where to interject it. So they exploit people because you make a phone call to somebody, hey man, I'm coming over there, I'll be over there in 10 minutes. They intercept the phone call, get the person number, and say, hey, listen, here's what we'll do. We're going to give you such and such. We're going to pay you this, this, and this, or give you this opportunity so that we need you to do this and this to him, or we need you to do this and this to her. That's how Shanquella Robinson ended up in that situation she ended up in. It was a stone cold setup. Shanquella Robinson ended up in that situation because she was a person of interest to someone, obviously. All those friends she had around her, they weren't her friends. They were all implants. People that intentionally came around her for a specific reason. That's why they stopped talking about her. Because if you dig deep into what happened to Shanquella, we would probably learn that those quote unquote business partners and so-called friends she had came from day one with the intentions of sabotaging her some way, somehow. So they orchestrated this plan. Oh, let's go take a trip to Mexico. Because they already knew that Mexico has no extradition law. You can take somebody to Mexico, you can unalive them, and come back to America. And because of the ways that the law is written, there ain't nothing nobody can do. So they just basically got away with it. And so these are the things that people do. You have people, if they know you're a creative person, they would hack into your phone, hack into your computer. See, I've had books stolen from me. Books that I've written, stolen. Other people publish them in their name. Think I don't know, I know. But that's what they do because they don't have any creative energy within their own self. So even people in the movie industry, they find a lot of spiritualists interesting. They would hack into your phone and learn, even listen to your classes. They'll hack into your classes via Zoom meetings. And they'll get all of the information about ritual work from you or whatever you're doing, your spiritual journey work, and they'll steal it and put those things in movie scripts. They'll steal your interactions with your clients and put it in movie scripts in the movie industry. Everyone is under surveillance, okay? And so when you're moving on your spiritual journey, you got to understand that once you come out here and be a content creator, and for you guys who choose to be content creators, you have to be extremely discreet. Extremely discreet on this journey because we live in a culture of insanity. People do insane things, don't care who they hurt in the process. You have people that will hire hackers to listen to phone calls between you and your psychiatrist just so they can make content on social media. It's no lie. It's no joke. You have people that will hire hackers to hack your mama phone, your family, even your children's phone. For people who got cameras in their houses, you have to set up a network security system to where you got to know how to scan your network to know if anyone's watching your cameras, because your kids walking around in their panties. You walking around naked in the house. And here go these hackers. They're sitting there collecting data, images, video footage of you from your own cameras on your phones. Once your phone is cloned, they can see everything you're looking at. You know, I give them a show. I give them a show. I tell you no lie, I give them a show. Because my thing is, look, but please don't touch. Please, please. Because I know, these things been going on for many, many years. But just don't touch. You know what I mean? And this is the kind of world we living in. It's full of surveillance and insanity. And these things are normalized as regular behavior. This is what we do. Bad enough the government has everyone under surveillance. Bad enough Russian hackers got us under surveillance. Bad enough Chinese hackers got us under surveillance. And then you turn around and what else happens? You got your own people committing genocidal tactics by surveillancing one another, looking for faults, looking for flaws. And then when you come and tell them, hey, listen, I have fun. I'm grown. I'm 50 years old. Yeah, I've been to the casino. Yeah, I may have turned up with some escorts here and there. Yeah, I may have been set up a few times. But guess what? Self-defense means defend yourself by all means necessary. Get yourself up out of that shit. That's what it means. And so you learn lessons and you stay away from all of those people. You stay away from that world altogether. Because your personal safety is more important than anybody's agenda. And that's a fact. Ain't nobody playing out here. Personal safety is very important. Being kind to people is very important too. And so no matter what realm you're moving in, you should always be kind. Be kind and just to people, because me personally, I'm the type of person, I don't want nobody to go through anything I've been through. That's the basis of what I've been teaching, because I don't want nobody to go through what I've been going through. It's not a facade. Why in the hell would I be a bad person, like for real, an inherently horrible person, and out here teaching good? There's a lot of horrible things I can go do, get some money. I choose not to do that. I choose to do what's right for financial gain, not what's wrong. Do what's right for financial gain. Because I believe that God's going to bless me and people will bless me if I continue to do what's right and give people knowledge, especially about the supernatural abilities of people. Like, we do have supernatural abilities. And a lot of people don't understand that. And that's something I'm going to get into in another video about the supernatural abilities of Black people and how we really awaken that supernatural ability, because people be talking about meditation and all that. You don't do that. It's a certain type of connection that needs to be had in order. You have to connect straight to the divine. You can't go through these spirits and this, that, and the other. These things travel from multiple dimensions. There's power in them, but that is not the ultimate power itself. The ultimate power itself is the Most High. And so once we learn to discover the presence of the Most High within our own spirit, within our own soul, then we can be able to actualize our own supernatural abilities. But once you sell your soul, you sell your supernatural abilities. I repeat, once you sell your soul, you sell your supernatural ability. So when we look at the political, social, economic conditions of America, and we look at how other people are selling their souls, they don't have no supernatural ability. They sold their supernatural ability for $1. Happens all the time in the music, sports, and entertainment industry. They sell their soul for money. Not everybody, but most do. And this type of behavior is something that, like I said, it's been culturalized. It's really been culturalized. And so insanity, it bleeds into obsessions. In a previous video I made on YouTube, man, I talked about obsession as spiritual possession. When you become an obsessive person, when you're obsessed with others, and this deals with celebrity obsession, when you become obsessed with others, you become an open vessel. You become an open channel. You psychically open yourself up for energies to body hop. They body hop. So when you become obsessive, energies can just jump in and out of you another time. People carry spirits with them. There's a lot of people carrying evil and negative spirits. So the people that carry these evil and negative spirits, when you listen to them, there's portals on your body. The eyes is a portal. That's why people will show you things to manipulate your energy. The mouth is a portal. People speak things to manipulate energy. The nose is a portal. You can smell things that manipulate your feelings. The ears are portals. You can hear things that manipulate your feelings. Okay? The vagina is a portal. You let things in you that manipulate your feelings. I know the ladies are very skilled at understanding that. The anus is a portal that manipulates, that energy can come in and out of you. Those are the portals: eyes, nose, mouth, ears, penis, vagina, anus. The 7 portals. You see? And so we have to guard those portals at all times so that we don't get manipulated by the energies of others. Because once you allow yourself to be possessed by the energy of others, you simply lose your ability of discernment. You can't discern for yourself because you got all of your senses being manipulated. You see? And this is all part of the culturalization of insanity. So when we talk about how these things affect our society, when people operate in those ways, when people normalize those behaviors, they make it cultural. Just like it's normal to sell drugs as long as you get in the bag. You see what I'm saying? Just get the bag so I can go out there and sell everybody in my community fentanyl. This man dead. He overdosed from it. It's okay. I got his $20 in my pocket. I got the bag. That mentality needs to stop. You see, the exploitation of other people mentality needs to stop. Our participation in it needs to stop. And so that's why right now I've chosen the path that I'm staying on too, to stay away from all of that low vibrational negative energy, man, because it serves no purpose for no one's higher good. It only enables the oppressors to keep oppressing people. That's all it does. Because we don't control none of these resources. What we do control is our culture. So when we allow these energy to come into the culture and we normalize insane behaviors, like we laugh at, like I made a video about black trauma is hilarious. It is to clowns, because every time somebody black goes through something traumatic, we got all of these pages that comes up. Everybody got a joke about it. Nobody cares, right? It's insanity. How could you not care about your future generations? How could you not care about the social political conditions of people? How? Oh, as long as you got the bag, that's all that matters, right? Yeah. But guess what? 100 years from now, that concept is going to come to light. Because 100 years from now, when we may no longer be here as a race of people, because we're advancing philosophies and principles and ideologies that don't serve a futuristic purpose for the people. We're committing treason against our children. We're committing treason. You see? For what? Temporary profits. So what? You're a millionaire. You got it now. 100 years from now, the rest of your generation won't even exist because the principles you're standing on now is going to destroy their future. In fact, it is destroying their future now. So it's very important to understand that we cannot culturalize insanity. It's a very bad thing to do that, and so when we look at how we relate to one another, compounded trauma, gender wars is a form of compounded trauma. There's so much trauma with women, so much trauma with men, right? And you got all these wars, nobody like each other, everybody clashing and crashing with one another. Instead of really sitting down and saying, express my feelings, the thing about that is that women are more expressive of their feelings. And I get it, man. I totally get it. It's some things, man, I really wanted to say that, I would love to say. I would love to get to the raw bone truth about what's happening. And I will. I definitely will. Because exploitation is horrible. It is. It is. And but I also understand that my accountability or my clarity of what's taking place is obviously more important than the accountability of others that strongly participated. My accountability is more important because obviously they're nobodies. Nobody really care about that. They care about what I have to say or what I do, because I'm obviously of some more importance than them. So they don't have to be held accountable. Only I do. I totally get it. I understand it. I totally get it. And I'm okay with it, honestly. And so when we look at these compounded traumas, we look at gender war, men fighting women. Why can't people sit down and let's get to the truth? Let's sit down. Because sometimes we have to be absolutely uncomfortable about hearing the truth. And so when the word uncomfortable comes into the mixture, what ends up happening is people get so uncomfortable that they lie. Like, ain't nobody have to lie to kick it. This happened, that happened. Nobody have to lie to kick it. But what we need to do is tell the uncomfortable truths to one another. And the uncomfortable truths to one another is that the majority of Black people in America will sell out another Black person for some money. That's an uncomfortable truth that we have culturalized as normal behavior. If there's an opportunity there, I'll sell this one out and sell that one out and sell that one out for an opportunity. Not knowing that opportunity that you have is a reverse opportunity that only empowers the oppressor even more over you. So yeah, you got some money, but that oppressor got more leverage in his or her power to control and keep controlling you. You see what I'm saying? Now, there's a lot of good-hearted people out here. A lot. And good hearts is not racial. Good hearts is absolutely not racial. There's a lot of good-hearted white folks, good-hearted Black people, good-hearted Asians, good-hearted Hispanic people out there. What makes racism such a complex thing, right? In America. What makes it such a complex thing is that you can have someone like a white person who's not inherently racist at all. But the way that racism is so systemic is that they're going to benefit from white supremacy by default. Just because they're white, they're going to benefit from it, even if they're actively involved in it or not. That is traumatic, seriously traumatic to a white person with a good heart. Because they have to really sit there and go within themselves and fight and battle with the issue. They have to be like, man, I don't hate black people. I don't hate Asians. I don't hate Hispanics. But the way that the system of America is designed, I'm going to benefit over them if I deserve it or not. And for a white person with a pure heart, that's trauma. Now, when you look at black trauma is knowing that other people are going to benefit over you because of your skin color. So it makes you paranoid. Now you're like, man, I can't trust this one. We have a right to feel that way. If a person has a good heart or not, we have a right to be paranoid. Because we have compounded traumas, just like they have compounded traumas. But who created it? Your forefathers. European forefathers created that system that they refused to dismantle. Good heart or not, you got to dismantle that. It has to be dismantled. You see? So, and you have people who would like to dismantle that system of corruption. But they know if they go to try to attempt to eradicate the system of injustice and corruption, they're going to lose their defaulted benefits. You know, some may be willing to lose those default benefits. Others might be like, I'm not racist, but I can't lose these benefits. And that's trauma. And what traumatized black people even more is having the understanding that everybody's traumatized about our condition. You got people benefiting from it. You got people who want to help, but they can't help because they'll lose their benefits. And what does that say about the state and condition of America? It's full of corruption, corrupt police officers, corrupt government officials. Look at what Trump did. All right. Now, I'm not no political supporter at all. I don't get into that. All of it's evil. But Trump makes me laugh sometimes because I know he got a vendetta against the Democrats and some Republicans. So what he decided to do, which he already knew that the government be stealing money. He knew that. Everybody know the government steal money. Everybody know taxes is fraud. Let me tell you something about taxes. You go to a store, you buy a bottle of olive oil, right? You pay taxes on it, right? Then at the end of the year, you got to pay more taxes for the money that you make to buy your grocery. So you pay taxes on your job for working for someone else. Think about it. You pay taxes on your job for working for someone else so you can pay bills that come along with taxes. You pay your light bill plus tax. You pay your water bill plus tax. You pay your car insurance plus tax. You pay your house insurance plus tax. You pay your phone bill plus tax. So you work for the money to pay your bills. You get taxed for working, and then you get taxed for everything you do with the money that you work for. Tax. Trump knew. So he knows what they do with this money. He knows that this money is being lined up into the pockets of top paid government officials. He knows that. So what does he do? He said, well, I'm going to open up Doge. I'm going to get Elon Musk, another crook, to open up Doge, which he's using it subliminally to support Dogecoin, another conversation. And what we're going to do is we're going to find all of the money that the government has been stealing from American citizens. So now they go on this internal rampage in the government, and they look and they see, wow, here goes $1 trillion of money that was taken from American people unjustly, that the government has been squandering, basically lining up the pockets of top paid government officials. And we're going to take this money now, we're going to cut everybody a check for $5,000. Honestly, man, they need to cut everybody a check for $50,000. That's just real. They need to cut everybody a check for 50 grand. You know why they need to cut everybody a check? Because the government has been systemically overtaxing, overcharging for products. People, American people, for hundreds of years, ever since the inception of this country. So when we talk about the issue of 40 acres and a mule, I know, a lot of people don't want to hear that. I asked ChatGPT, I said, based on a 10% interest rate, what would 40 acres and a mule be worth right now? Man, that thing told me 190 something sextillion dollars that they basically owe black people with a 20% interest rate. You see, so they're so far in debt with that particular, scenario. They're so far in debt that they can't pay us. And they couldn't. You know what I mean? So they try to pacify. And one thing about a pacifier, you can suck on a pacifier. A pacifier and a bottle is two different things. You give a baby a bottle, that baby is getting nourishment because that baby bottle got its mother's milk inside of it, hopefully. Hopefully it's breast milk, not no dang on Enfamil or Similac. Those things got iron particles and other things in it that is probably not good for the development of the brain of the baby, but, I'll leave that up for discussion for others. But a baby's bottle should have breast milk inside of it. So when you put a baby bottle, the nipple from the baby bottle in the baby's mouth, they get nourishment. A pacifier is a nipple that all you doing is sucking on it. That's all you're doing, sucking on it, thinking you're getting nourishment. So they have become complacent with handing out pacifiers to the black community. Totally complacent with doing that. And we have become complacent with culturalizing destructive behaviors with one another. Know why? Because black men won't heal. I'm going to be honest with you. Listen, regardless of the way things look, I got the ultimate respect for black women, for women in general. Ultimate respect. And one of the reasons I have the ultimate respect and why I created like my healing journey and to help those who really need it is because they have the heart. They got heart. The woman got heart. Most of these men, the woman got heart. I'll be honest with you, man. They got heart, man. They would heal. They would heal private, out loud. They heal all over. They'll because they're trying to fix themselves. Because men in general have failed, our counterparts. We have failed them. I mean, like, we love each other more than we love them. They know it. We know it. And then you got a whole group say, we don't care. And, it's just a mess. It's a real mess. And it's all behind compounded trauma. All of the traumas they've experienced, all the trauma we experienced. But one thing you got to respect about the woman, man, is at least they try to heal. We might not like how it looks. We might not like how I feel. But at least they tried. And that's on God. Men, boy, nigga ain't trying to heal. Men don't heal. That means they got to talk about how they've been touched as little boys. They got to talk about that. They got to talk about their abandonment issues. They got to talk about that, and those conversations get uncomfortable. You know, they get really uncomfortable. And when they've been touched by family members and stuff when they were kids, and they grow up, they get a gun in their hand, they want to cover it with bravado. They want to cover it with being a thug. They want to cover that with being a gangster. But the reality we all know is that no one comes from a loving home and decides, say, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get a gun and I'm going to call myself a gangster, get all these crazy tattoos all over my body and start acting retarded. People who come from loving homes don't go out into the streets and do those kinds of things. You see? That's right. They don't do that. You come from a loving home, a loving environment. You don't go out to the streets and say, I'm going to go kill me some people. And your mom and your daddy loving on you. You got a perfect, healthy family structure. And you just wake up one day and say, you know what? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to start, tearing up things. It doesn't happen like that. Those brothers come from dysfunctional family structures. They refuse to heal. And because they refuse to heal, they hide their wounds with gold chains. They hide their wounds with 100 pair of sneakers. They hide their wounds with designer clothes. And they hide their wounds with hypersexuality. That's right. All of that are acts and behaviors that are developed to hide the trauma in the wombs of Black boys. So we end up being 30 years old and still a boy. Why? Because people out here be straightforward, refusing to heal. And that's why I commend the Black woman. At least you're trying, man. I know we might not like it. I know I don't be liking some things I've seen. I don't be liking some things I've heard. But one thing I got to say in my heart, boy, at least they're trying. Tear my ass up too, but at least they're trying. My thing is, you can tear me up. I can handle it. And I can do what I need to do for real corrective behavior. But tear their ass up too. Like for real. Don't let nobody get free. Because somebody trying to heal can get tore up. Then the ones who ain't gonna heal and got no intentions of healing need to get tore up some more too. They get even worse. And that's the God honest truth. Seriously. God honest truth. And so, like I said, men don't heal. We don't try. We don't attempt. The majority of men won't do it. The majority won't do it. They'll get a bunch of money and hide all those wounds under a dollar bill. Think about it. All that trauma. We know you've been abandoned by your mothers for whatever particular reason. She had trauma that was passed down. And because she was trained in trauma, she trained you in trauma. You were abandoned. You say, man, I'm out this house. I'm going to go in the streets. I'm going to go sell some drugs. I'm going to go rob. I'm going to go steal. I'm going to go, I ain't against nothing against the government, to be honest with you. If it's against the government, hey, you know what I mean? But if it's against each other, I got a problem. Yeah. But because you were abandoned as a man, you decide to go into the streets and take your abandonment issue out on others. So now you hard, you big and hard, you big and bad. You got money, you take all your wounds and put a dollar bill over it. You know what I mean? If we were to cover ourselves, cover our wounds and our scars of abandonment and trauma as men, if we were to cover it with money, man, you have bills all over your body. Yeah, because you couldn't even, it ain't enough money to cover all those scars. Because I know, I come from those environments. I can see it. I can feel it, man. I know they hurt. I know it. And see, the ones that hurt, some get angry, then the other ones turn into clowns. Because you hurt, you go around laughing at other people's trauma. You know? And to be honest with you, the ones that go and laugh at other people's trauma, they're the ones that have been hurt the most. Trust me, they've been touched as little boys. They've been touched as little kids. Yeah. They've been abused and abandoned. And they escape that abuse and abandonment. They look at somebody else's trauma and they laugh. Oh, glad that ain't me. That's why they laughing. I'm glad it ain't me. I'm glad I still can hide my hurt. I'm glad I still can hide my trauma. But in the inside, the more you refuse to do that work, the more you sell in your soul. You see? I'm going to tell you straight up. If you ever sold your soul, you can get it back. You just got to be a man. You done sold your soul to some bullshit, you can get it back. You just got to man up. You got to run up on the devil and take it back. You know what I mean? Now, people from the streets know how this go. You might have been in the streets and, you know, it's just like a drug dealer selling another drug dealer some drugs. And the drugs ain't hitting on nothing. You know, the boy call the phone, people ain't answering for it. You go back and take your money back. Like, man, here, you take it back. Them boys do that all the time. But they need to apply that energy, put that same energy in taking your soul back. We know you're selling out. We know you're sold out. Man, take it back. Don't be scared to take your soul back from the devil. Yeah, I sell it to you, all right. Yeah. You got to get that back, though. For real, you got to get that back. Because I sold my soul and I thought that this life that you promised me was about something. And I end up finding out that I am more trauma. I am more hurt. I am more pain. I'm in more abandonment after I sold my soul to you. Don't be afraid to take your soul back after you sold it. We all make mistakes. Serious, real talk. We all make mistakes. Ain't nobody perfect. That's why in the Bible, Yahshua said, he who's free of sin cast the first stone. Ain't nobody can throw a stone. Ain't nobody can throw a stone. This lady, she's a prostitute, everybody. He's a drunk. He's an alcoholic. He's a homeless man. We should stone him. He's a fornicator. He's an adulterer. We should stone this person. Yahshua said, he who is free of sin cast the first stone. Ain't nothing of them could throw a stone. Know why? Because he knew what he been dealing with. He know all y'all dirty. All y'all dirty throwing stones. Trying to hide your hand. That's why God is the judge. You see? This is why God is the judge. Because when men judge, men are judging from a place of sin. You judge from a place of sin. The same people that say what you are is what they are. The only difference is you're healing from who you were. You're healing from that. You're fixing it. Actively fixing it. They ain't actively fixing nothing. They're just throwing stones. And getting worse and worse as they do it too. For every stone they throw, they're committing worse sins back there. Because they never stopped. They never evolved. Some people are not here to evolve. Some people are only here to show you what it looks like what it will feel like if you never evolve. There's only a particular set amount of people here to evolve. Everybody else is an obstacle to your evolution. Seriously. And that goes in black people, that goes in white people, Asian, Hispanics. Everybody's not here to evolve. Some people are here as obstacles to evolution. Just like when it comes to liberation for black people in America, economic and social political liberation. Look at all of the obstacles we have. We have the black boule, black people who sit in the sports industry, they sit in the entertainment industry, they sit in the music industry. And what do? For their communities? Nothing. Nothing. They do nothing. Knowing that they got the power, but just part of the process is if you get in this position, you can't not do those things. You cannot go back. Jay-Z cannot go back and buy Marcy projects and convert it into living quarters for low income. If he do, he'll buy Marcy projects and then turn around and convert it into condos for rich people to move in, displacing the people that's already there. That's the only thing gonna happen. They're not gonna do that. You know, big shout out to Kodak Black. Kodak Black been paying rent in the projects for all the people in apartment complexes out there where he at, you know, in Florida. He been paying rent out of his pocket, man. Tell everybody, man, save your money, man. Go find something to do with your money. He tried. He trying. But that man do that and everything, you know, other people do. They go post video of him spaced out his mind. He going through an awakening. Kodak Black is going through a spiritual awakening. He need help. Clearly see it. Man sitting on the curb like this here, eye big. Lord know what kind of drugs he on, whatever's happening. But he going through a spiritual awakening. Because when he started to come out of it, he started to start giving to people. Start making sure that he made sure people were straight. Not only the people with him, but other people, the projects, people we know struggling with their rent and their bills, he went and paid it up. He's going through a spiritual awakening. The brother need help. He don't need people taking pictures of him. He don't need people videoing him, making content off of him. People that do that kind of stuff are government agents. Help the brother. Go help him. Go lift him up. You know what I mean? Go lift him up. He's going through an awakening. Let him awaken. Let him come up out of it. It's okay. See, a lot of times people are afraid to come up out of it. Because coming up out of it means that those that stole in it, they're going to tell it all on you. You know, and the whole purpose of telling it all on you and even mixing lies with the truth, the whole purpose of doing that is to pull you back down in there. Darkness does not like light revealing itself. When you step into the light, what it really means is that you're leaving a low vibrational lifestyle and you're attempting to move into a higher vibrational lifestyle. Meaning you moving into a lifestyle, say, man, I'm going to go do the great work, the real great work. And what happens is those low vibrational entities, they're going to pull up what you did in 1944. I'm telling you. They're going to pull it up. They're going to use it against you to try to get other people to go against you. No matter how transparent you are. You get transparent, they get into deep details. But they don't really want to do that. You know, like for example, if I were to tell my life story, I'll piss the whole city off. I'll piss a lot of people off. Not probably everybody, you know. Some people know what's really going on. But, you know, you piss people off. You piss them off. That's not your intentions. But if someone walking in their path, if someone coming into the light, piss you off, that piss is your own spirit screaming for elevation. That's your spirit telling you, look what he's doing. You mad, you jealous, you envious, but your spirit is not. Your spirit not envious. Your spirit not angry. Your spirit don't want revenge. Your spirit want the light. That's what it wants. Spirit is light energy. We're spirit beings covering ourselves with darkness. So anytime someone rises out of darkness, we get the jealousy, the hate, the envy, the anger coming from the carnal side of a person. But that's not their spirit. Their spirit is like, this is what I need you to do. I need you to come up out of it. The whole time, they're scared. The fear. There is no greater fear in the world than the fear of evolution. No, there's no fear. You can be scared of the KKK. You can be scared of the goddamn aliens. You could be scared of the police. You could be scared of everything and everybody. But there is no fear greater than the fear of evolution. Because that's something ain't nobody gonna do. Before Black men in America would evolve into who they need to become, they would rather run up in the United States Department of Treasury with a slingshot and tell them, give me all the gold, knowing goddamn well they're gonna get their ass beat. For real. They would have more courage running up and snatching a judge off the stand in a courtroom and slamming a judge on their head before they change or even attempt to. Because the fear of evolution is a deeply rooted fear that has been instilled in Black men. That's why we don't evolve. We don't. And the few that do, the very few that do, they catch hell, of course, part of the process. And the others, they're just pretending. They're pretenders. So we righteous and this. We're pretending. A lot of them are. You know, for real, for real. A lot of them are pretending. You know what I mean? And so, because pretending to be righteous or pretending to be healed is another whole story. You see? So there is a lot of men out there pretending to heal themselves, pretending and like go through the process. Because once it happens, people will know it's real. But it ain't about what people know. It ain't about other people validation. Validate you. You have to validate your spirit. The only way you can validate your spirit is by conquering the fear of evolution. That is what validates the spirit within you. And with that, I'm going to leave you guys there. But that is the message today about the culturalization of insanity and the many things that we have adopted, principles, ideas, and behaviors that we have adopted as a collective group of people, as a collective humanity that goes against the laws of the Most High, that keeps us in spiritual, social, economic, and political turmoil. And until we change those behaviors, until we stop culturalizing foolish behavior, our situation will continue to get worse. We're going to have more Shanquella Robinsons. We're going to have more George Floyds. We're going to have more and more and more. Because as a group, Even as individuals, when we take ourselves seriously, they say others take you seriously. Well, apply it to the whole race. Until we as a group take ourselves seriously, other people are not obligated to take us seriously. They're not. These Arabs and Jews are going to keep opening up corner stores in our communities. How is it that these people own 90% of corner stores in Black communities all around America? And we don't get the picture yet. They're becoming millionaires sitting in environments of poverty. So that let me know that we ain't that poor. We ain't that poor if an Arab can come all the way from Saudi Arabia, or a Jew, not the real Jew, the fake one, can come all the way from Israel and open up a corner store and become a millionaire in an environment full of poverty. They let you know you ain't poor. It lets you know. So with that message, I want you to know that, yeah, definitely, we need to grow up and stop culturalizing insanity. Have a great day. This is Medicine Man. You know, I am who I am, the Medicine Man. Peace.